This person was always looking for something they could not name. They searched in other faces, other touches, other promises, but nothing filled the void. Nothing stood still. They compared without realizing. Every glance, every word, every absence, it was all a comparison to what had been stored in their heart. This person tried to move on but carried it within. They denied it, disguised it, tried to forget. But now it has become clear. What was missing had a name, had a form, had a story. It was you. This person understands now. Not because someone explained it, but because the silence began to hurt more than any memory. And even if they don't say it, they feel it. They feel your absence in the details, in the random moments. In the song that suddenly plays, this person wants to come back, but they don't know how. They don't know if there's still space. All they know is that what they lost was what they were always searching for. This person always knew, but pretended they didn't. It wasn't for lack of signs. It wasn't for absence of feeling. It was a choice or cowardice. This person had you, felt you, heard you, but didn't understand, or didn't want to understand. At the time, they thought it was an exaggeration. They thought they could move on. They thought they had time, but they didn't. And now, when they close their eyes, what weighs the most isn't what happened. It's everything that went unsaid. This person compares. They don't admit it, but they compare. In everything. With everyone. You became the standard. You became the silence that bothers when the world screams. This person tried to tear you from their memory with urgency, with other bodies, with other attempts. They tried to convince themselves it was just a phase, just an attachment. But it wasn't. It never was. You became an absence that marks more than any presence could. This person searched for your scent on the pillow of another bed. They tried to laugh loudly to drown out the pain. They tried to go out, distract themselves, pretend. But it was all pretending. It was an attempt to deceive themselves. It was desperation disguised as freedom. You became a recurring thought. It became a cherished memory and a constant pain. And the worst part? This person realized too late that it's not about finding someone new. It's about knowing that they already found someone and let them slip away. This person sought you out even in places they never imagined. Not with their feet, but with their heart. In the automatic gestures. In the responses that came without thinking. This person looked for you in conversations, in jokes, in the way of holding hands. They hoped to feel what they felt with you anywhere else, but they didn't feel it. Because it wasn't you. And that's what weighs heaviest. This person understood that connection cannot be forced, it cannot be recreated, it cannot be bought nor rehearsed. You were what came effortlessly, what calmed without needing much, what stayed even when the world urged it to leave. This person missed you even when they were still with you, because the end started before the end. And they realized it, but stayed silent. Perhaps out of pride. Perhaps out of fear. Perhaps because they didn't know how to hold on to what was already slipping away. And now that you're no longer here, absence became unbearable presence. An unbearable presence. This person misses you even in places they've never been together. Because what's missing isn't a place, it's you. You've become a memory that doesn't tire of returning. This person tries to move on, but always returns to the same point. You. They relive everything. The first conversation. The casual touch. The first time they felt peace just by being near you. And then comes the regret. The kind that doesn't scream, but corrodes. The kind that invades in the middle of the night when everything is too quiet. This person feels it. Every day. Every damn day. The world moved on, but this person remained stuck in that moment. The exact instant when everything could have been different. The choice they didn't make. The words they didn't say. The fear they didn't face. And now they try to start again with fragments. But fragments do not hold up. Fragments do not warm. Fragments do not bring you back. This person lost you due to an excess of misplaced certainty. They thought they would have time. Did you think you would wait? Did you think you would always understand? But even the strongest love can get tired of not being seen. This person understands that now, too late. You've become everything they try to forget but can't. There are deleted photos, but vivid memories. There are erased messages, but entire phrases engraved on their skin. There are new people around, but none that can fill the void. This person doesn't speak, doesn't show it, but feels with an intensity that hurts. And there's no one to blame anymore. What was once certain has turned into an unanswered question. Do you still think about them? Do you feel the same? Does it still hurt for you too? This person doesn't know, and that kills a little every day, because now they understand. You weren't just a phase. You were a destiny interrupted. This person wants to go back, but doesn't know if they can. Wants to write, wants to talk, wants to admit, but fears that they are no longer welcome, that they've lost you forever. And so they do what they always did. Stay silent, watch from afar, pretend to be strong. You were the love they thought they would find later. But there is no later. There's no one who can do the same. No substitute. This person understands that. Too late. But they understand. You are still the thought that comes uninvited. When that song plays, when they pass by that place, when they hear someone say your name accidentally, everything comes back, everything pulses, everything reminds them of you. This person is still waiting for a sign, any sign, a message, a glance, a word, something that says, it's still possible, something that allows for a fresh start. But you're tired of waiting too, aren't you? Tired of always being the one who tries, the one who forgives, the one who insists. And this person feels the weight of that, not out of cheap remorse, but out of real acknowledgement. This person doesn't know if they still deserve it, but they know what they've lost. They know what they destroyed out of fear. They know what slipped away thinking it was just another story. You were the story, and now it's the longing that doesn't go away. Closure. If you made it this far, it's because you felt. She felt every word as if it were written for you. And maybe it was. Perhaps that person is reading this too. Or maybe they're trying to summon the courage to write to you right now. If you feel that there's still something there, don't wait any longer. Sometimes what seems lost is still waiting to be found again. It wasn't an easy choice, nor was it about ego. Leaving didn't feel light. It wasn't an act of coldness. It wasn't indifference. It was exhaustion. It was looking in the mirror and no longer recognizing oneself. It was realizing that loving too much alone hurts. That person waited. They waited for signs. They waited for reciprocity. They waited to be seen for who they really are. But they grew tired and didn't say everything, because they knew that speaking hurt more than being silent, so they chose to leave. Even wanting to stay, you became a presence that suffocated because they no longer knew where they fit. It was like trying to reach someone with both arms open and receiving the bare minimum, always the bare minimum. That person didn't leave because they stopped feeling. They left because they were exhausted from feeling alone. And that, inside, is what breaks you. You may never understand the effort it took to smile when everything hurt, when everything felt like pretend, when everything turned into mere attempts. That person left to protect themselves from their own love. Because love without reciprocation turns into ruin. It becomes silent demands. It becomes hope that eats you alive. And while you thought they were strong, resolute, cold, they cried alone, swallowed words they wanted to scream, harbored affection that never had the space to be given. That person misses you too, but in a different way. It's not just longing, it's frustration. It's regret mixed with relief. It's the dilemma of having done what they needed to do, but not what they wanted to do. That person looks back and sees everything that could have been, but also remembers how much they begged for presence, for attention, for recognition, and didn't receive it. That person still dreams of you, but not like before. Now the dreams smell of goodbyes, of almost, of everything left undone. Because loving and leaving are two things that sometimes get mixed up. And this person left loving you. You might think that they forgot you, but that's not the case. Forgetting would be easy. The hard part was continuing to feel and still letting go. This person asks themselves every day, would it have worked out if they had tried just once more? Would you have changed? Would it have been different this time? But there were no answers, and no one can wait forever for an answer that never comes. This person observes you even from afar. Sometimes they scroll through your social media. Sometimes they hear that song and everything stops. Sometimes they pick up their phone to write, and then give up, not out of pride, but because they've learned that for some reunions to happen, both people need to miss each other and act. This person still has love, but they don't have the breath for it anymore. Love sometimes doesn't save, doesn't sustain, doesn't move mountains, isn't enough. They wished it were enough, but it wasn't. Closure. Now there are two silences. You there, waiting for a sign. This person here, waiting for an action. And time passing. And feelings hanging in the middle of nowhere. If you still feel, if you still think, if you still believe, don't let this silence win. Because sometimes the one who leaves is the one who hopes the hardest to be called back. Now there are two silences, two sides, two prides hurting. You there, waiting for this person to return. This person here, waiting for you to reach out. And between the two, emptiness, the void where everything used to exist. Where the promises, the plans, the little details that only made sense together. This person hasn't moved on. You haven't either. But no one admits it. It's easier to pretend you're fine. More comfortable to say you've moved on. Simpler to smile at others than to confess that inside, the longing has become routine. This person still remembers. The day everything crumbled silently. The exact moment they realized they were fighting alone. The exhaustion of giving everything and receiving almost nothing. And you might still think that she left easily, that she moved on, that she turned the page. But she didn't. She can't. Because this person doesn't want to forget. She just wished things had been different. Meanwhile, you wait. You wait for a message, for a high that could break the ice, for an action that shows you still matter. But you don't send anything. Because you think she should be the one to come back. Because deep down, you still believe that she has the obligation to try again. But you forget that the last time she tried for two, she tried even when there was no response. She tried even when she had no strength left. She tried even when you stopped noticing anything. This person left feeling, and those feelings didn't go away. They didn't fade upon waking. They didn't disappear after other names, other places. They didn't vanish when she distracted herself with the world, because the world doesn't hold your touch, your scent, your crooked way of loving wrong, but with sincerity. And this person misses that honest imperfection, that unconditional giving without a script. You remain trapped within yourself. You want to talk, but you don't. You want to reach out, but you don't move. You want to find a resolution, but you wait for the other person to do everything. And this waiting is killing any chance of a reunion, because there comes a point where silence becomes the answer, and you are dangerously close to that point. This person has already written messages she never sent. She typed, deleted, opened old photos, closed them. Listened to your voice in videos she saved without realizing it, but she didn't have the courage to reach out. Not out of pride, but out of fear. Fear of finding you different. Fear of finding you indifferent. You feel that something still exists, but you don't know what. Maybe there's still love, or longing, or an unfilled space, but at the same time, something in you blocks any impulse. Because going back requires more than courage, it requires humility, and a willingness to hear what might hurt. And this person is exhausted from insisting alone. She has already crossed all the emotional barriers she could. She has already yielded when she shouldn't have. It's been a while since you didn't even notice. So now, she only waits. Not because she doesn't want to come back, but because she needs to be sure that this time, it won't hurt more than it already has. You both are in the middle of the minefield of almost. You almost got back together. You almost spoke to each other. You almost said what needed to be said. But you let time pass. And time doesn't wait. It gradually erases. It washes out the colors. It weakens the impact of memories. And when you realize it, it might already be too late. Or worse, perhaps there's still time. But neither of you has the courage to try. This person still wants to meet you, but only if it's for real. She doesn't want a hollow reappearance. She doesn't want scraps of affection. She doesn't want you halfway. You either come back whole or you don't come back at all. You either own up to what you feel or you let go for good. Because this person has already experienced the pain of losing you, and she won't go through it again just because you're still undecided. Now that everything has been said, or rather, Now that everything has been felt, what remains? Two silent sides, two hearts weighing heavy in their chests, two wishes trapped behind pride, hurt, and fear. Time keeps passing, but this absence doesn't fade away with it. It stays, it sticks, it bothers. And maybe the worst part of all is knowing that feelings still exist on both sides. But neither has the courage to cross this chasm made of unspoken words. This person still feels, you still feel. But time, cruel as always, won't stop to wait for this reunion. Life goes on, people move on, and love, when not taken care of, also moves on. Yet sometimes it can still be saved. It can still be rescued. It can still be restarted, but only if someone takes the first step. Maybe it's you, maybe it's this person, or maybe it's no one at all, and it all turns into just another unresolved story among many. Do you want that, or do you still believe it's worth trying? If you've been through something similar, or if this story reminded you of someone, share it. Sometimes all someone needs is to hear this right now. Leave a comment down below. Have you ever felt like you let someone slip away whom you shouldn't have? Or worse, do you feel like you're still letting it happen? This topic needs to be talked about. It needs to be felt. It needs to be lived without shame. So go ahead and comment, share your story, or tag that person who still lives within you even if you no longer talk. And if this touched you truly, give it a like, so we know that this kind of content matters, and subscribe to the channel. Because here, we don't talk about feelings like they're cliches. We expose what so many keep silent about. We feel together. And sometimes that's all it takes for someone to decide to come back.